everybody, how are we today? Today is day four. I'm just going to tag you ladies in to let you know I am live. If you're watching, say hello, let me know you're here. I see 2 people watching, so that's brilliant. Okay, so hi Druti. Hey Alina, I'm here, I'm live. Okay, so today we are going to be talking about responding and reacting. Okay, so far we've looked at emotions, what emotions are. We've looked into how we feel our emotions. Sorry, my hair's just having a bit of an off day today. And we've looked into how we communicate our emotions as well. Good morning, good morning. And now we're going to look at whether we're responding or we're reacting. Because this is a big one, right? And again, everything I'm saying here, everything I'm teaching you applies for yourself and for your child as well. Because a lot of the time we think we're actually responding, but we're not. We're reacting, okay? And it's really important that we teach our children from a really small age, or as quickly as you can do, about the difference. Because I'll tell you now, there are a lot of adults walking around that think they're responding when they're actually not. They're reacting, okay? And I can hold my hands up. I have done it. I've been one of those adults that was consistently walking around, carrying all my emotional stuff, not addressing it, and reacting the majority of the time, okay? Let me know if this resonates with you. Let me know what your thoughts are around responding and reacting, because I'll be really interested to kind of hear where you guys are at with that. So feel free to interact. But essentially, there's a big difference between the two. So if we start with reacting, okay? So if there was a situation that has happened, and essentially I'm going to keep everything really simple for you guys as well, just so that you can explain it in the simplest way to your children and so that everybody can understand it in the easiest way. So there's a situation and it's kind of, you can feel like a strong emotional response to it. A lot of the time, again, this is why it's so important to know where we're feeling our emotions. A lot of the time for me, I'll feel it in my stomach. I'll just feel it like a jolt, oh, like that. Yeah? Let me know if you kind of are aware of where you feel strong emotions as well. I'll be really interested to know. But we feel it and then we do this. Blech. Essentially is what we do, right? So that's the reaction. And a lot of the time it's driven from a place of unresolved emotional stuff, emotions that just don't make us feel that are just there residing, that don't feel very good. And we're essentially triggered, which we will be looking more into this week. So that's where the reaction comes from. And a lot of the time when we are reacting, it often doesn't bode well. Okay. Druti saying my emotions lie in my heart and mind. Excellent. Alina in the same area, but it's very intense, right? So when we are reacting, it sometimes isn't received very well. And the reason why sometimes it's not received very well is because it's coming from a lower feeling place. Does that make sense? Yeah? So if I use just a really silly example, if I'm really insecure about my weight and I think I've put on lots of weight and I'm wobbling everywhere and I visualize myself as the Marshmallow Man from Ghostbusters. I don't know if you guys know what I'm talking about, but that's how I'm feeling about myself. And then somebody comes along, my partner or somebody, and just says, oh, you're looking, you know, quite curvy today, or just something that maybe isn't even meant in a really negative or nasty way, right? It's something that's maybe just like, oh, you know, you look quite full, you know, or whatever. A reaction, and I've done it in the past, so I will hold my hands up. A reaction would be, how dare you, so you're calling me fat, you know, oh my God, you're such an idiot, you know, right? And the other person is just like, whoa, where did that come, whoa. And again, it's dependent on who you're kind of reacting to as to how they respond to it. If you're reacting to somebody that actually has their own stuff going on and is easily triggered themselves and is just as reactive, then guess what's going to happen? You're going to get a back and forth. They're going to react back on you, then you're going to react back, and it's just going to turn into something it doesn't have to turn into. But if you're reacting towards a person that's actually quite aligned within themselves and are aware of their emotions and their reactions and responses, they may be able to handle that a little bit better. They may come back with something that's like, oh, okay, I see you're really upset by that. I did not mean that in a harmful way whatsoever. You know, I apologize. It wasn't meant to be that way. It was actually a compliment, you know. But that's where the reaction energy comes from, right? Dhruti, at the same time I'm reacting them from the heart and in the mind, I feel triggers emotionally from my partner and stepson. Yeah, so sometimes we can react and it's not even external. It's an internal thing where we get triggered by people and it's like, oh, that feeling of almost like being punched in the stomach, okay? But it's always about addressing these things that come up, okay? What you're feeling, whether, you know, when you're feeling, whether it's an external reaction or an internal stuff going on, it's kind of flagging it up there so that it needs to be dealt with, essentially, okay? So that's reactions. Those are reactions there. Responses. We'll use the same example again. So I'm feeling like the Marshmallow Man, and you know, somebody says, oh, you know, you look quite curvy, or, you know, if I'm in a responsive state, I can come back with something that says, oh, thank you. I could come out with that. I could come back with something that's like, yeah, I'm looking quite curvy, you know. Yeah. Alina, let me know what your reactions are. I'd be interested to know. Yeah. Because we're all gonna react in different ways and respond in different ways, right? But the point is about knowing whether you're coming from a responsive place or a reactive place, okay? Because if you're coming from a reactive place, it's likely you've been triggered, and that's going to have to be dealt with. But yeah, if I'm coming from a responsive space when somebody's made a comment about how I look or about my weight, it won't usually be as like that. Does that make sense? It won't usually be received like that from by the other person. It will usually come from a much more calmer state. It will usually, you know, I could even possibly turn around and say, yeah, I've put on a couple of pounds this year, you know. But the whole energy and everything about it feels very different. Alina, showing up like a prediction maybe sounds weird, but I don't know if I'm triggered by something. Showing up. So are you saying you're not aware of when you're being triggered, Alina? Is that what you're saying? Let me know. So yeah, so there's a totally different energy when it comes to our responses and our reactions. But the key with all of this is about feeling into your body and knowing when you're kind of feeling that whoosh energy, like you want to just explode. Going into that and really kind of addressing where that's coming from, or where there's maybe some unresolved emotions or things where you've just not felt able to speak your truth, you know, and just addressing that, because once you address it, you heal it essentially, and it no longer will be something that's triggered. Alina, are you okay? So you don't know when you're being triggered, yeah? Is that what you're saying? Okay, so if you have an issue with not knowing when you're being triggered, the best way to know is when somebody says or does something, it's almost like an instant oh feeling. A lot of the time that feeling won't feel good. Okay, so a lot of the time you may want to react out. A lot of the time you may want to kind of physically act out. It may trigger anger, frustration, sadness, disappointment. You know, it usually kind of triggers those emotions. And this is where, you know, the task is going to be quite interesting then for you, Alina, because it's going to be good. This is why it's so interesting to kind of teach our children this as well, so that it helps with their emotional awareness and emotional intelligence also, to know when they're being triggered, or when they're being in a reactive state, or when they're being in a responsive state. It's about getting to know ourselves as well, and how we kind of manage our emotions. Like, I know for me, if I'm sick or I'm really tired, I'm likely to be really, really reactive. It's just me, it's who I am. But that awareness of that means that I also, by taking responsibility for my emotions, know that when I'm in that space, I need to have alone time. I need to have time to sit with my emotions. I need to maybe do some breathing or some meditation. I maybe even need sleep to help me, you know, to just realign everything. I may need to do some journaling. Okay? But the core of all of this is that a lot of the time when we're not addressing our emotions, we're walking around as like ticking time bombs, just waiting to be triggered. So you notice it with your little one, Alina, yeah? So remember, we lead first, right? So it's always good to know within yourself. It builds a relationship with yourself. It will help build the relationship with your child as well. Because if we're not aware of when we're responding or reacting, we're like, you know, we could be reacting left, right and center, and the people we love the most are experiencing this, and they're like, whoa, right? So it's good to take ownership of our emotions, because we teach our children to do it, so we need to do it too. Yeah? And I have regular feedback from my children. Like, my eldest doesn't even hold back. When she wants to tell me something about myself, she will. And she does it because she knows that she has permission to do it. But she will come back and she will just say, or I might do something and she might look at me and go, do you need to go and take a nap? Do you need to go upstairs and maybe just chill out in your room for a bit? When she says things like that to me, that's like, maybe I'm being a bit prickly today. Maybe I need to go and sit with my emotions and really think about what's going on internally. Okay? Dhruti, for me, my emotions are up and down, and this is why it's so important. You know, we're females, we're cyclical creatures. Our emotions are going to be up and down. They just will. Look at our menstrual cycle. Yeah, we have different phases. We feel differently throughout the month. So it could be that even one period in the month, you notice that you're super reactive, right? But it's about what you do about that, how you be, how you choose to be. It's about taking ownership of your emotions, because nobody will do that for us. And that's exactly what, you know, we have to teach our children, is that nobody will take responsibility for their emotions. They have to learn to do that for themselves. It's healthy to do that. We can support them, but we can't take full ownership. Yeah? Some people, I even recommend keeping a diary, like a monthly diary, day by day, and you just log how you're feeling each day. And you can look back and you can go, oh, okay, I was feeling pretty good these days. Oh, but I had an argument in the second week, and oh, that carried on, and the fourth week wasn't that great either. And then you may even notice patterns happening, where you can say, whoa, these parts of the months, they show up as kind of reactive periods for me. I wonder what's going on there. I wonder where maybe I'm not meeting my own needs. I wonder what I need to do or be to align my energy so I can feel better, so I can show up as the best version of me. Now, don't get me wrong, like, we're all going to have off days. Like I say, if I'm sick or if I'm really, really tired, I am likely to be more reactive. Like, nobody is perfect here. But the key is, it's just about bringing awareness to it. Does that make sense? Let me know if you have any questions. Okay, because the task, interestingly enough, and it's a task you can do with your child as well. Again, we're bringing in communication, we're bringing in conversation, we're bringing in like discussions that build the relationship and the connection between you and your child. And even if you're not doing it with your child, even if you're here because you want to do it for yourself, everything I'm teaching you is for you too. The bonus of all of this is that you get to teach your child the activities you get to do with your child as well, and that creates more connection. But the task that I'm going to get you guys to do today is about brainstorming. Okay, so I'd like you today, if you can, and remember, share it in the group. Let me know what you're getting up to so I can support you and we can celebrate you. Brainstorm situations where you find you're more prone to reacting, or brainstorm situations where you find you respond more so. Okay, and really kind of have a think or discussion with yourself or your child as to why maybe you react at certain situations and why you don't. Okay, because that again is going to help you to understand yourself and your emotions more. It's going to get your child looking at you and saying, yeah, you know, mum's just like me. We're the same. We're the same thing, you know. Mum struggles with her emotions sometimes too. And that's okay, because that's the truth. We do. And, you know, it's good to be open and honest with your child about that. That, you know, if they're struggling, you know, we struggle too. But it's about what we choose to do with it. Yeah? Druti, let me see. Oh, I can't see the rest of your message. Oh, with my stepson, he reacts to them every day in anger, in rage, not listening. My partner's the same. Druti, it's not letting me see the rest of the message. That's annoying. Druti, feel free to write the rest of that message so I can see it. But yeah, so it sounds like your son and your partner are very much in reactive states, likely to be triggered because of stuff that's just kind of not emotionally resolved within them. Now, the thing is, we can't change anybody. This is there's nothing in my work that I do which is about changing anyone but yourself. Okay, and even in that, I say it's just an enhancement of yourself. You're learning new things to enhance what you already know. Okay, so we can't change anybody. We can't, again, like I said, we can't take responsibility for anyone's emotions, because that absolves them of responsibility for their emotions as well. We can guide, we can offer support, but essentially the only people we can take full responsibility for are ourselves. Okay, and we lead. So if you're modeling aligned emotions, emotional awareness, you know, if you're modeling all of these things, people will always be watching and people will always be learning. Does that make sense? So it may be a thing where people are watching you, Druti, and going, gosh, you know, wow, she's, you know, she's had a bad moment, but she's taking, you know, she's taking stock of it. She's doing something differently. She's, you know, there's just a different presence about her. When you start taking responsibility for yourself and your emotions. And again, how do we teach this to our children? We model it. We have conversations like these. We do tasks like, you know, what I've said to do in the task for today. They're always learning and watching. Okay. I do know it's difficult when you've got another partner there that maybe is on the opposite end of the spectrum, that isn't doing the work and isn't, you know, emotionally aware of themselves. I understand how difficult that is. I've been there. But again, I want you to really just place your focus on yourself more so than anything or anyone else. Like I say, if you can't do the task with your child, then it's perfectly fine to do it for yourself, because you lead first. Okay, does all of that make sense, guys? Because I see there's still 2 of you on, so I assume it's Druti and Alina that's still here. Let me know if that makes sense to you, or if you have any questions. Because if you don't have any questions, I think I've rambled on enough for today and taken up enough of your time. So let me know. And of course, if you do have any questions after, just comment in the group and I will come in and support you in the best way I can. Okay, I don't see any other questions. Any questions about the task, again, just reach out. But I look forward to kind of seeing your light bulb moments, seeing what comes up for you, okay? And yeah, if you've got any kind of anything you want to share it in the group. And I will see you all tomorrow at 11. Okay, bye guys.